we are covering a critical distinction for the ServSafe Manager exam, telling the difference between Salmonella Typhi and non-typhoidal Salmonella. The exam loves to test this because while both are part of the FDA's Big Six pathogens, their sources and primary routes of contamination are fundamentally different, which impacts prevention strategies. Let's start with Salmonella Typhi. The single most important fact to remember for your exam is that Salmonella Typhi lives only in humans. It is carried in the bloodstream and intestinal tract of infected individuals. This means the source of a Salmonella Typhi outbreak is always a person. The bacteria are shed in their feces and can contaminate food or water, often through the hands of an infected food handler with poor personal hygiene. An exam question might describe a scenario where several people get sick after eating a deli salad. If one of the food handlers was recently ill or is an asymptomatic carrier of typhoid fever and they didn't wash their hands properly, they could have contaminated the ready-to-eat salad. This links directly to the foods most associated with Salmonella Typhi, ready-to-eat foods and beverages, because they don't undergo a final cooking step that would kill the bacteria. Now let's contrast this with non-typhoidal Salmonella. The key difference for the exam is the source. Non-typhoidal Salmonella is primarily found in farm animals. Think of poultry, eggs, meat, and dairy products. It can also be found in produce, like tomatoes or cantaloupes, that has been contaminated by animal feces in the field or during processing. The classic exam scenario for non-typhoidal Salmonella involves cross-contamination. Imagine a cook cutting raw chicken on a cutting board and then using the same unwashed board to chop vegetables for a salad. The raw chicken could be carrying non-typhoidal Salmonella, which is then transferred to the ready-to-eat vegetables. Another common example is serving undercooked eggs or poultry. The exam will try to trap you by confusing these sources. If a question mentions poultry or eggs, your mind should immediately go to non-typhoidal Salmonella. If it mentions an infected food handler and ready-to-eat food, think Salmonella Typhi. Another trap is the severity and policy. While both can be serious, typhoid fever caused by Salmonella Typhi is generally more severe. However, because both are part of the Big Six pathogens, the response is the same. The diagnosed food handler must be excluded from the operation immediately. They cannot return to work until they have a written release from a medical professional and approval from the local regulatory authority. Here is a simple phrase to keep this straight. Typhi comes from a person's tie. Non-typhoidal comes from farm animal thighs. Think of a tie being worn by a person, linking Typhi to its human-only source. For non-typhoidal, think of chicken thighs or other animal products. It's a simple way to lock in the primary difference the exam will test you on. Understanding this core distinction, human source for Typhi, animal source for non-typhoidal, is crucial for correctly answering several questions on your ServSafe Manager exam. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.